ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. We welcome you to Juneteenth at the Corner Spot. I'm Ben Masoke. Alongside myself, I have my favorite host, Karen. On behalf of Ashland is United and Area, we appreciate your presence today. A little bit about Area. It stands for Ashland Residents for Equity in Action. It's a group for people in color and their allies in Ashland working together to ensure that their voices are represented in local civic organizations, governments, and schools. Through community action, they want to make Ashland a safe and inclusive community for all. A little bit more about Juneteenth. It's a holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S. It's also called Emancipation Day or Juneteenth Independence Day. Now, the name Juneteenth, as most of you could probably figure out, the reference is the date and the holiday, combining the words June and 19th. I think it was pretty creative of them to come up with that. Now, I've noticed in the crowd, we have a few dignitaries. We're very honored and grateful that we can open this event. And I'd like to welcome our State Senate President, Karen Skolka.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for continuing to help us all build bridges. Thank you. Thank you. So good afternoon, Ashland, and happy Juneteenth. I am really honored and pleased to be here today with this great crowd. It's wonderful. I want to thank all of the organizations that have taken the time to organize and put this together. Ashland is United, Ashland Residents for Equity and Action, and consistent with why we are gathered today. I just want to thank all of you and all of the elected officials and folks that are here, because Ashland is a welcoming, warm, safe, and inclusive community. So for all of that, give yourselves a round of applause. In one sense, Juneteenth is our newest holiday in the United States, but this day has had a very long historical significance for Americans, especially Black Americans. In fact, it's been celebrated by African Americans for many generations. It's also known as Freedom Day, and I'm sure, as Ben mentioned, you all know that Juneteenth commemorates this very day, June 19th, in 1865, when Union soldiers, it's hard for us in the day of internet to believe that this is what happened, but when Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, finally reached Galveston, Texas, and shared the news that the war was over and that slavery had been abolished. That it has been abolished 2.5 years before they got to Galveston, Texas. So for 2.5 years, the folks in Galveston did not know the war was over and that slavery was abolished. 2.5 years after Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. That's pretty amazing. Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah, much easier. I could do it, but this is a lot easier. So, and we know that this act, the Emancipation Proclamation, telling enslaved slaves and others that slavery was over, it did not end slavery, enslavement. It did not end discrimination, unfortunately. It did not do the trauma caused by slavery. But it marked the first time in our nation's history in which, at least on paper, all Americans were free. For this reason, it's also been called Emancipation Day, or even I've heard it and read it called our second Independence Day. I'm proud that back in 2020, in response to call from many community activists, Black historians, and many others, the Senate and the House voted to recognize Juneteenth as an official Massachusetts state holiday. And then, after we recognized it first, we can give ourselves a pat on the back. I comment to my colleague in the State House, Jack Lewis. After we recognized it and made it a state holiday, the federal government, to their great wisdom, made it a national holiday. And compared to some of the laws that we've passed to advance racial justice, making June 19th the holiday we know is really symbolic. It's a symbolic gesture. But we also know that symbols have power. And this symbol is representative of our Commonwealth's commitment to keep pushing forward. The work to achieve true justice and equity for Black residents, for all of our residents, of the must continue. So the celebration of Juneteenth gives us a chance, an opportunity to reflect on the history of ourselves and of our nation, including Black Americans' central role in that history. And it gives us an opportunity to acknowledge the importance of freedom, democracy, and justice for all. Because laws, we know as well, laws on paper are just not the sufficient thing that we need to do. And freedom, justice, and democracy clearly don't happen on their own. Freedom, justice, and democracy take work. Hard, consistent, intentional work by all of us here, our extended community. So I look forward to continuing to build our bridges and doing the hard, consistent, and intentional work with all of you great Ashland residents to continue to make Ashland an even safer, more inclusive, free community where everybody may not be just different, but we all are celebrated. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Karen. We appreciate that. Can we get another round of applause for that, please? I've also noticed our state rep, Jack Lewis, is here to say a few words. Thank you so much, Jack, for coming.
Happy Juneteenth. As Karen mentioned, this is a new holiday on our state calendar. It's a new holiday on our national calendar. It's a new holiday on many of our work calendars. But it's certainly not a new holiday for many, many folks. And today is a wonderful opportunity for us all to celebrate, for many of us to learn, and to develop a greater appreciation for the holiday and what it has meant to so many over the last 150 plus years. But also a chance to pause and reflect. Reflect about a people that had always been free in their hearts and in their souls. A people who had been recently, at least according to the law of the land, liberated on paper from bondage, but a people who continue to be in shackles at the hands of others and in the minds of others. And as Karen said, we need to keep that freedom alive and that quest for equity alive in our hearts. We need to work to make sure that our laws acknowledge that and celebrate that, but that the real work, the next chapter of that work, is to make sure that others understand that that struggle is not over, and that true liberation, true equity and freedom is fought each and every day, not just in our hearts and for hearts and minds in our communities, not just in the ballot boxes or in halls of power, but around our dinner tables, in our schools, and our public dialogue, so that we can truly be that place that celebrates that liberation that a people felt and had and knew they had in their hearts over 150 years ago. Again, thank you so much for all you do, for those who planned this event, and I look forward to celebrating today with all of you.
Thank you. That was really, both of you, Karen and Jack, you really set us on the right path. We're ready to celebrate. Woo! We are running a little late, and so we're going to open with an activity that is a typical celebratory activity for Juneteenth. We're going to invite Milan Butler, who is a member of Ashland is United, to lead us in the singing of Lift Every Voice, which is the Black National Anthem. We are going to have an opportunity to look at a Juneteenth flag, which is on the side of this building. We were very fortunate, both the Needham Bank and the Metro West Visitors Bureau gave us money so that we would be able to bring a performance to you later, so that we could buy some of the things that you see around here. There is a folder with information, for instance. Please be sure that you circulate and take advantage of all the things that are here. Yvonne?
Thank you, Karen. Join me first with the National Anthem if you want to. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we hailed were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say there's that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. And now please get this out and join me, all of you, really, this time really loud. And we'll sing it for you. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound as a rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is on. I did not hear anybody. Let's do it again. Can you join me, please? Come on, please. Guys, that's why we have this photo. Really try to sing. Don't be afraid to be a little bit off, because it seems
I cannot sing and then sing. Everybody can sing.
maybe a little higher. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven reign. Reign with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won. Again. Let us march on till victory is won. And for Ukraine, let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you for that wonderful singing. Next, I'd like to introduce Makita Keegan from Area to say a few words as well. Thank you so much. Give a warm welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here today. Thank you Area for all the incredible work that you have done in the Ashland community. Thank you, Ashland is united. And I'm looking out here in the crowd and I'm seeing so many people who have put their hearts and souls into our beautiful community. I want you all to give yourselves a hand right now. Just, nothing happens without us doing something around it. So I'll make my remarks brief. I was asked to share some of my reflection as an African American whose family has been in the United States for a few hundred years, and the significance of Juneteenth for me and my family and my relatives. So Juneteenth for me is an opportunity for me to not just celebrate history and celebrate the contributions of black folks in the United States up until now, and the freedom that was won on that fateful day. But for me, it's very personal. My parents, my late father, was very active in the civil rights movement here in the United States in the 1960s and 70s. I used to hear stories from him and Mom about when they were down in college at North Carolina A&T, a historically black college university, where they would march and they'd have water cannons put on them, and dogs tore at their flesh just because they demanded to be treated as human beings. My parents fought the good fight, and I'm proud to say that their fight has become my fight and all of our fights. It's so inspirational to see another generation pick up the fight for equity and justice for all in this country. So, as we get started and we get our festivities going, and I hope you get your eats on because there's some good stuff happening here.
Yes.
I'm going to ask everyone to keep three things in mind. Do three things today. I'm going to say them first and then I'm going to explain them. We're going to celebrate, we're going to educate, and we're going to activate. Say it. Celebrate. Educate. Activate. We're going to celebrate, educate, and activate. Let me explain. You know what celebration is. Let's be happy today. Today is a great day of jubilation. That's right. it's a happy day, not just for Black Americans, but for all Americans, because it reminds us of the true promise of this great nation. So let's celebrate. Educate. Let's make sure that we educate each other. Not just about anti-Black racism, but the evil and the true darkness of bigotry and what it can do to not just societies, but to people in their hearts. Let's all stand guard and make sure that our hearts and our community, by extension, never fall prey to that kind of darkness. And activate. Awareness is awesome, but awareness must be focused into action. Action. And you're probably sitting here, you're standing here like, well, my goodness, Makita, you know, I mean, I'm just one person. What can I do? I mean, I'm not someone with great influence. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not the president of the United States. What can I do? Even in your own sphere, with your families, with your friends, in your communities, you can make a difference and make sure that you exemplify the values of equity and fairness. Thanks again to Area, Ashland is United, and everyone here. And I just want to say, happy Juneteenth, everybody. Thank you so much.